Mm. Well, hello. Okay, so today I am doing a Q&A. It's been a while since I've done one of these. So I took you guys questions on Instagram and YouTube, and I'm going to be taking you through a makeup routine filled with current favorites. If I don't mention every single product I talk about because I'm answering the questions, everything I talk about, as always, is going to be linked down below in the description box. If you are new here, hello, my name is Cate. I'm an exclusively pro-choice influencer, and that means that I only feature products from brands that are in support of abortion rights. If you'd like to check out my pro-choice beauty brand list, you can always find that in one of two places: on my Instagram as a pinned post or in my YouTube posts. I'm gonna start off with what I'm drinking today. I have been branching out and trying new wines because here where I'm staying in Bedford, there's this amazing wine shop in the neighboring town. If you live near here, it's called Pound Ridge Wine and Spirits, I believe. They have some of the best wines. I love my experience wine shopping in that store. And this I picked up the other day. They were having a Spanish wine tasting, and look at how cool the bottle is. So this is an Albarino Godello. So refreshing and so crisp. So before I get into the questions, I do want to tell you guys what I prepped my face with. So I went in with the Rhode Glazing Milk, which literally gives me just the most gorgeous bounce to my skin and really does play well underneath makeup. And I don't often do this on camera. I don't often apply my sunscreen before I put my makeup on, just because almost 99% of the time when I film, I'm not leaving my apartment. So I'm not even seeing the light of day. But today it's gorgeous here and I'm actually gonna go out and hang by the pool. So I'm definitely going to be putting my SPF on in this routine. So like I said, glazing milk, and then I go in with this brand of sunscreen. This is a Korean sunscreen. It is called Beauty of Joseon. And this is the Relief Sun Aquafresh Rice Plus B5. Korean sunscreen is literally the best out there. And honestly, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to get our hands on it. In fact, I don't even know if we can at this point. I haven't checked and I probably should have stocked up. But this SPF is absolutely beautiful. And again, another product that just goes beautifully underneath makeup and hydrates the skin. And this is an SPF 50, which I really do feel like at this point in my life, I need to be wearing at least an SPF 50, especially if it's like a sunny day. So that's about how much I go in with. Okay, so I am just like choosing these questions at random here. Sarah Klein-Smith asks, if your best friend opened a sandwich shop, I love this question, and named a sandwich after you, what would be in it? This is actually like a very serious question because I take my sandwiches very seriously. I'm just gonna go with the first thing that came to my head. I love a fresh, crispy ass BLT, fresh tomatoes, crisp lettuce, crispy bacon. We could go with some sort of like delicious mayo aioli situation. I don't know, maybe like a pesto mayo or something. But the key is my sandwich would have to be served with potato salad on the side. And not just any potato salad, the best potato salad in the world, which is absolutely my grandmother and my mother's recipe, which is heavy on the hard-boiled eggs. It's not sweet. It's a little bit Sorry, my mouth is literally like bursting with saliva talking about it. It's a little tangy. And then I would have to have a side of Miss Vicky's spicy dill pickle chips. Is that too specific? I gave you like a whole plate. I'm gonna be going in with the Merit Minimalist. This still to this day is one of my favorite foundations. And it's definitely my favorite foundation if I'm traveling because it's a 2-in-1. It's a foundation and a concealer. Also, pins and needs, because Merit is coming out with a liquid foundation this month and I'm so excited. I may or may not already have it. I've been trying this out and spoiler alert, I'm already in love with it. So definitely stay tuned because I'm going to be doing a full review on this product. This is actually a tinted mineral sunscreen. Sarah Klein-Smith is delivering with the fun questions because she also asked what 80s movies still make your heart happy. Definitely have to say first and foremost, Pretty in Pink. Pretty in Pink is my ultimate favorite 80s movie. I watch Pretty in Pink probably like once a year. You know, I have to be honest, I don't necessarily love all of John Hughes' movies. Like I really tried with The Breakfast Club. I know that's everyone's favorite. I even watched it like a year ago, you know, relatively recently, just to like give it another whirl. I don't know, guys, The Breakfast Club just kind of bores me. And also I used to have this insane crush on Judd Nelson in that. And now I watch it and I'm just like horrified by him. Like he's actually just like an incredibly toxic, abusive person, and I'm actually like disgusted, and I just find myself being kind of like pissed off the entire time. And then at the end, like, we're supposed to empathize with him and like be on his side, and I'm like, actually no, you literally sexually harassed Molly Ringwald in front of everyone. The other John Hughes movie that I really tried with but just cannot is 16 Candles, and I know that's really blasphemous, but I just always thought it was dumb. But Pretty in Pink can get it, like, all day, every day. Like, literally inject James Spader directly into my veins. Like, hook me up. I used to have a thing for Andrew McCarthy. It's kind of been ruined because did you see the recent documentary on the Brat Pack that he did? It's literally just him bemoaning the career he didn't have, and it kind of ruined him for me. So now when I watch anything with Andrew McCarthy, I'm just like, oh, he was just wishing he could have been a bigger deal. It's like, Andrew, you did okay. Okay, buddy, just move on. Okay, so I use the shade Dune in the Merit Minimalist. The reason why I'm bringing up shade is because the shades of the new tinted mineral sunscreen do correspond to the minimalistic shades. Oh my God, you know what? I used a different shade than I normally do. I didn't use Dune. This is actually Silk. But actually this works too. Okay, Silk and Dune both work for my skin. Silk, I think, is like a little bit cooler toned. Jess R asks, do you have any fun summer plans, trips, or concerts? So the only like huge plan that I'm really excited about is my boyfriend Randy bought us tickets to see Beyonce. Guys, I'm so excited. I loved the Cowboy Carter album. It's literally my favorite Beyonce album. As a person who loves both country music and Beyonce, it's chef's kiss. I'll tell you what, every time I come back to the minimalist, I'm just blown away. It is such a phenomenal stick foundation. I mean, look at how this makes my skin look. Okay, I got several versions of this question. So Amanda asks, with the current state of affairs in the US, what do you do to stay sane or find beauty? Oh my God, I don't even know the answer to this question, to be quite honest. I wish I had something to offer. Every day that we wake up is just another insane idiocracy nightmare. You know, the normal things that bring me joy, talking to my friends, listening to good music, drinking. I'm just like trying to survive day to day like everyone else. And I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't just like completely depressed every day. Like how can you not be? And I guess what I'll say is like everything is so terrible that it's easier to just not care about the things that don't matter, if it's even possible to have a silver lining in this. I hate to even use the word silver lining, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. To give myself a little bit of color, I'm going in with the Rare Beauty Liquid Contour in the shade Gentle. Jenny asks, tell us the jobs you are doing now. Also, what's your favorite color? So the other job besides YouTube that I had on and off for about 7 years closed down, and that happened last winter. It was actually quite a shock, and it was a little bit of a panic situation, but it really gave way to a wonderful opportunity. And I can't really talk about the job I'm doing now, but it's basically like a personal assisting job, and I am just absolutely loving it. The Sarah Creel dual-ended brush is absolutely phenomenal. Sorry, I'm just like mesmerized by how this bronzer blends out. It's just absolutely perfect. Now I'm gonna go in with my LYS setting powder, literally the only setting powder I use right now. Okay, so the most popular question I probably got this about 4 or 5 times. Mary Baker asks, will you sing professionally anytime? Your voice is amazing. That is so sweet. Thank you so much, Mary. So yeah, I got a variation on this question many times, basically asking me, will I perform again? Like, do I have anything coming up in that regard? The last time I performed was a few years ago. I do a country show with my friend Michael, who created this like folk and country show. And we did that both in New York and Florida. And, you know, we're always looking for places that we can do that show because it is such a delight. And then before that, I did a cruise line contract, which I actually like kept my channel going while I was on the cruise ship. So I don't know if anyone out there has been watching me since then. Like one of my old cruise ship videos came up on my feed and I watched like a minute of it, and it was just so surreal to remember the time when I was like setting up lighting in my stateroom and like figuring out how to do this channel off of a cruise ship. I am a performer. That is literally part of my identity. I will never not be a performer, and I absolutely intend on performing again. With that being said, I have been a musical theater performer all of my life. That was my focus. I'm a classically trained singer who went into theater and musical theater, and I did that whole grind in New York City ever since I was 23 years old. If it were just a matter of performance, of course, I would be doing it all the time. But it's not just that, it's the lifestyle. The lifestyle of being a performer and doing that hustle and that grind and having to have like 2 or 3 or 4 other jobs on top of auditioning is truly one of the most unsustainable, insufferable lifestyles I think I can honestly think of when it comes to a profession. I personally just think it's no way to live. And in terms of the hustle and the grind, I do not miss that whatsoever. And I have zero interest in going back toward that. I think I want to enjoy my life. I think I'm almost 42 and I'm too old for that shit. And I kind of feel like wild horses couldn't drag me toward most of what that profession entails. Just like everything else, it's only gotten worse and it's only gotten harder. So I am really enjoying just focusing on my channel. The other thing I'm afforded with my channel that I did not have when I was pursuing musical theater is freedom. Freedom to be myself, freedom to create the content that I want to create. I'm not waiting for anyone else to give me the go ahead to say, yes, we accept you. Yes, you can do this. I'm doing it myself. And after spending all of my adult life just waiting by the phone, hoping that someone might choose me, I might be lucky enough for someone to choose me, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm choosing me. I'm doing what I want. I'm standing for what I want. It is so refreshing and freeing after spending so many years doing the opposite thing. Now going in with the literal only brow product I use currently, and that is the Merit Brow 1980. I use this in the shade dark brown. Okay, so Michelle Wong, the Michelle Wong, asked, what character in any modern TV show do you relate to most? This is a great question, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've given it some thought, and I can't think of anything in particular. But I'm going to use this question to springboard into just talking about like my favorite things that I'm watching right now. Y'all, I finished Severance, I finished White Lotus, and truly was devastated when both of those were done. I loved this season of White Lotus. It was my favorite season. And if you watch my channel recently, you've heard me talk about how much I love Severance and literally think that it's the best TV show that has ever been on TV. With that being said, I no longer have that to watch. So I had to find something else, and I've had a little bit of trouble, but I have to say my favorite thing that I've watched since those shows, we just watched the first episode of The Studio the other night. Have you guys seen this? It's with Seth Rogen. It's absolutely hilarious. Like, I am actually laughing out loud. I have always been a huge Seth Rogen fan. I think he's so funny. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And I also think that he's like a really stand-up, decent guy in life. And let's be honest, there's barely any of those left. Like, we're hanging on by a thread here. So like I said, I've only seen one episode, but I really loved the first episode. And I've heard that the episodes like only get better as you go. So I'm really excited to keep watching that. And we're also watching The Last of Us, though I have to say that's a show that I really respect and I think it's excellent. Like I really don't have any criticisms of the show. It's just a hard watch. It might be too action based for me because I'm not really into action. It is also just super post-apocalyptic, and certain post-apocalyptic shows I just have trouble with. They're just too disturbing for me. Like Handmaid's Tale, had to stop watching that years ago. I can't even imagine trying to watch it now. That's like an absolute no. The Last of Us doesn't disturb me quite on the level that Handmaid's Tale did, but it's kind of like in the same category. And I'm watching it with Randy and I will continue to watch it, but it's kind of one of those shows where I'm like, okay, like let's watch it. Let's get it over with, even though it's excellent, just because it's just like heavy. And no spoilers here, but like, have you seen the second episode? Because that actually wrecked me. Like, I don't even know if I've actually recovered from the second episode. All right, Chase Dean asks, if you could choose one brand to make Speak Up About Abortion Rights, which brand would it be? Oh my God, this is like kind of an overwhelming question because there really are so many brands, but I'm gonna focus on my favorite brands that just will not speak up about abortion rights. I don't know, I would have to say Cate was really disappointed in their response. I wrote them and their PR person wrote me back personally and literally said like, we're not going to be saying a word about this, which is just appalling because that entire brand is based on animal rights and saving the environment. So it's just really galling to me that they stand so heavily for those things. But also I believe they're like a women-led company and they're like, we're absolutely not going to say anything. If you want to see the actual correspondence, you can always go to my Instagram. There's a hot pink circle. It says pro-choice on it. You can't miss it. You can see my interactions with brands. You can see how I put together the pro-choice beauty brand list. It's very informative, so definitely check that out if you haven't. But their response was incredibly disappointing. And Cozzens is another brand that was extra disappointing just because, once again, they seem to really speak out about some issues, but they really pick and choose. And they've really dug their heels in about abortion rights. I just feel like it makes a difference to get like these very contour lashes because it kind of like draws out the line of the eye. Okay, so Carrie Woodhouse asks, do you have regrets? Are you where you thought / planned you'd be in life? Do you have future goals? To answer the first question, do I have regrets? No, I just don't. I feel like everything I've done, even like some things that might have been considered a mistake, are things I had to do to learn, and they made me who I am today. So I genuinely don't sit around regretting things. Are you where you thought or planned you'd be in life? You know, this is a really interesting question because I've really learned that a lot of people think this way, that a lot of people have these like really specific goals and plans for their life. Actually, this is jogging my memory because when I worked for Lululemon, which how did I ever work for that company? Literally a spandex sorority. One of the things they used to do, I don't think this is allowed anymore, but they used to make us type up our 1 year, 5 year, and 10 year plans and then frame them and then put them out in the store for the public to see. And they would actually encourage guests to like come up to us and like inquire about our goals. Like, honestly, I'm looking back at it now. That is such an invasion of privacy. How is that ever allowed? But that's really where I learned that, you know, a lot of people like are really into kind of vision boarding and setting these really specific goals for themselves and their life. And I have to say, that's not me. It's never been me. I am not a person who has tried to plan my life out like that. And I do feel like because I've just kind of naturally had that perspective, it served me well because I am not over here bemoaning things that did not happen the way I thought they were going to happen, or, you know, like being upset about, oh, I thought I would be this far, you know, by the time I'm whatever, like 35, or that is just completely foreign to me. That is never how I've thought about anything. You know, that might have something to do with my chosen career for most of my life. Like when you're an actor, you can't really plan for anything. You just can't. You have absolutely zero agency unless you're like a giant star. So, you know, that might be a part of, you know, why I am the way I am. But even before, I feel like I've just always kind of felt this way. And I do feel like, and you know, no shade to people who set goals and like you should do whatever makes you happy. But I personally feel like sometimes setting goals like that really sets people up for unnecessary disappointment because it's like, I don't know who I'm going to be or what I'm going to feel or where I'm going to be at a certain point in my life. And I'm not going to try to like control the course of my life because of, you know, whatever, how I might have felt like when I was 23 or, you know, whatever age. It's just, you know, kind of how I've gone about things. So if you want to talk about goals with someone, I'm probably not your person. I'm really just kind of not interested in that. I'm interested in just kind of like going where things take me. Okay, so Fern asks, what is your favorite beauty store to shop at, online or in store? And what are your favorite drugstore skincare products? Okay, before I answer that question, I have to pick a blush and I'm overwhelmed. No, I know exactly what I'm gonna do because Say just dropped 3 new shades of their Dew Blush as well as their Glossy Bounce lip glosses. And I am obsessed with these shade releases. First and foremost, because this shade right here is called Flirty. This was released in a limited edition duo, and it's like one of my favorite shades, if not my favorite shade of the Say Dew Blush. And I was like bummed because it was limited edition, but they brought it back and it is a part of their core collection. So I'm gonna use this shade today. Okay, so what is your favorite beauty store to shop at, online or in store? I mean, I probably use Sephora the most. I know that's kind of a boring answer, but if I do buy beauty, it's probably from there. The other place that I purchase from the most is Rhode. And Rhode is only online. However, I have to say they're gonna release at Sephora in 2025. At least that's what I've heard. And see how I'm like patting this in? This is my favorite blush brush. Run, do not walk on this. This is the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Blush Brush, but I'm literally just like patting in a circular motion, like pressing it into the skin, and look at that. Like just the perfect summertime flush. I really love the Say Do blushes because I know they do look super pigmented, but the difference between these and like say the Rare Beauty liquid blushes that are like really pigmented, these have a sheerness to them and they are a gel formula, so they blend out so much easier. And then I just put a little bit extra on the apples, like almost bringing it up under the eye, but not fully. Like, I can't get over it. It's just so incredibly gorgeous. And it also has like a little bit of a stain to it. You can see this is completely off my finger, but it's still left a little bit of a tint. And then the second question was, what are your favorite drugstore skincare products? So I have to say with, you know, going pro-choice after Roe v. Wade was overturned, I never was like a huge drugstore person, but that has dwindled even more because the amount of drugstore products that are pro-choice is like next to none. The major drugstore pro-choice brand is definitely e.l.f. They're like a superstar in terms of speaking out. So I love e.l.f. I stan e.l.f. That's kind of it. Honestly. But you know, I have to say, even if I hadn't done the whole pro-choice thing with my channel, I probably wouldn't be using drugstores specifically for skincare. And I'm not saying there isn't some good like drugstore skincare out there. I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm saying that you really, really have to do your research and find it. And also just because like none of these brands are pro-choice, that's just not something I'll be doing. I am like real serious about skincare and I'm turning 42 on May 31st and I'm getting even more serious about it. I actually just added in a retinol and like really am committing to it, like using it almost every single day. And I've really committed to a vitamin C serum and I just have to say it has taken my skin to new levels. Like, why did I wait this long to like really hunker down with a retinol? I do not know, but I'm doing it now. That is literally like the perfect pop of pink blush. I'm actually gonna take this and use like a tiny amount as a lip stain, and then we're gonna go in with a gloss. Okay, so I'm gonna choose between these three glosses that Say released, and honestly, all three of them are Cate shades. But I'm gonna go with the pinkiest shade. This is called Burst. I kind of forgot about these glosses, but they're really beautiful and glidey. And I don't know that I was as over the moon about the initial shades that they released, but these shades, my eyes are like popping out of my head. Is that not just like juicy perfection? Also very monochromatic with the cheeks. Oh my God, this shade of gloss is bangin'. This is all I need, honestly. Like all I need is a perfect pink, juicy, glidey, plushious gloss. And that is the finished look. I love how she turned out. Okay guys, that wraps up this video. As I said, everything I used today, including all the shades, are going to be linked down below in the description box. I also want to add that the giveaway that I'm doing, which is an over $700 giveaway, is going to be ending soon. So if you want to get in on that giveaway, the only thing you have to do is become a member of my membership. And I'm going to link that down below as well. It is $4.99 a month. I also am going to start doing members only lives here coming up. So definitely consider becoming a part of that membership. I would love to have you guys. This was really fun. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are the best. Please stay safe out there and cheers till next time.